where we're exploring the South African savings crisis and what you need to maximize your savings efforts. Still with me in studio are Raylan Dunbar, financial advisor at FinLogic, consumer credit specialist Stephen Logan, and Wilhelm Janssen van Vuren, wealth manager at FNB. Now, before we continue with our discussion, let's take a quick look at another viewer's question we received. It came from Jade in Lone Hill, and Jade asks, I've just received an increase and would like to know how much of it should I save and what savings plan should I use? I guess once again a very, very open question and a number of ways of tackling it, but I think Raylan, would you like to take a quick stab at what you might give to Jade as some input?
Jade will obviously have to look at her monthly expenses and really just try and work out a budget in terms of what she needs to survive on each month. Now, if she's in a position where she's got enough money over at the end of a month that she can actually invest her full increase, that would obviously be your best case scenario. I mean, she's effectively been used to living on a certain amount of money each month. And by taking that money and possibly saying, great, I'm going to now give myself another 500 Rand or 1,000 Rand of that money to upgrade my lifestyle or have the extra luxuries in life, take a larger portion of that actual savings and put it away towards investments.
So now once again, it's coming down to the budget, see what I can afford to spend, see what I can afford to save. Once there, we can really move on. I think the key question again is coming back to it, and it's perhaps something worth looking at. A lot of people get mixed up between what are my savings, what are my investments, etc., etc. A lot of people invest in the market and they're actually doing more like speculating. I mean, if we were to give a broad definition, what is it as a savings, what is it as an investment?
There's a big difference really between savings and investing. The problem is with savings is that that's generally when people put money in a bank account and they just forget about it and they leave it there. Now, being in a bank account, you're not in a position where you're actually earning a large amount of interest, and you'll find that the interest amount that you're earning is generally below the inflation rate. So over a period of time, you find that your money is actually depleting in terms of spending value. So the idea, though, in terms of investing is where you're actually making your money work for you and also work for the country. I mean, you know, the government is always trying to promote that South Africans need to save more. But the idea really is that they need people to invest in our markets more. That will save us having to be in a position where we're trying to rely solely on foreign investments to build the stadiums and to upgrade our roads and that type of thing. So the more that South Africans are investing in the markets and actually getting the returns on our markets, that's obviously where the good growth and the benefits come from long term, versus rather just putting your money under your mattress and being in a position where you obviously don't have any growth on that money going forward.
Yeah, and I guess also another way is to perhaps look at it and say savings is more for the short term and investing perhaps more for the long term. Stephen, I think from your perspective, I mean, we don't know the age of Jade right now.
Yeah.
And I think something we spoke about during the break was around sort of your credit life cycle and how when you are younger, you have a bigger need and potentially bigger exposure to debt, and so the theory should go that as you progress in life, there should be less and less. How would you apply that scenario to Jade?
Well, Jade's question implies that really what Jade would like to do, along with everybody else, is to spend as much of that as possible and to save as little as necessary. And really, the reality is that one should try not to up one's lifestyle, but rather settle your debt, particularly when you're younger. The debt life cycle is such that when you incur the debt, you generally are younger and you generally don't incur as much debt going forwards. The idea from a holistic perspective should always be to repay your debt and start to invest more and more money into investment vehicles as you get older. So the biggest investment is generally, and practically the most valuable investment, is generally to settle your debt as soon as possible while you are able to, while you are younger. And then, not to say that you shouldn't have any investments, but then to focus and be able to put more money into investments once you've settled your debt.
But I mean, how do we balance this off? Because I mean, for many people, they sort of start out in their careers, they perhaps move in together, they buy a small flat, and that small flat is $750,000. You know, to try and say, well, I'm going to pay off this before I start saving. The question is, where do we draw the line? How is it that we actually say what's right, what's wrong here?
I think there's a need to have a focus on understanding the danger of debt as well as the benefit of debt. And unlike other types of investment, where you are paying off debt, you're actually reducing a danger that should there be a recession or should you be unable to make payment of the debt, the asset which you are financing won't be jeopardized. So it's very, very important that that asset be safeguarded by settling the debt, which would otherwise jeopardize that asset where you're unable to make those payments. So it's about understanding the balance. Where is the danger? What are the benefits? And really, perhaps as a younger person, putting more money into settling debt than you would into other investments, and then changing the balance and the mix of where you're putting your money as you grow older.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, I mean, I can see you want to add to something like that, but something sort of just creeps into the back of my mind, and I think it has to be asked as well. I mean, certainly from a financial services point of view, the banks that's not their ideal scenario. I mean, at the end of the day, from a financial planning point of view, and this is something that I do believe is changing, at the end of the day, you don't get paid to help people reduce their debt, do you?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, if you're a responsible advisor, financial advisor, I think you are being, although maybe not over the shorter term. I mean, it's because, you know, I firmly believe if you get it right to have a proper relationship, or even in your own practice or in a business, the relationship-driven model is very, very important. It becomes more and more important. So even it's a short-term view. If you say, listen, it's not the best advice. It's not objective advice because I might lose some income because of the fact that I'm advising a client to pay off his debt. People know when you're honest and serious and when you're objective. And if you do the right thing, you're building a long-term relationship with that individual or that client. Or you might be young, or you might be close to retirement. It doesn't matter. I think it's the best advice. You know, and we also need to understand, maybe just taking a step back. I mean, for employed people with big corporates and in institutions, you know, the responsibility has moved away from the employees to the, or from the employer to the employees. So there's a big sort of responsibility also for the individual, and they don't necessarily understand that, especially for a young person. You know, you rather plan for a holiday than planning for retirement in 20.
A lot more fun anyway.
It's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And it's more exciting. So it's important to do your homework, and you know, so there's not one answer for that question. I mean,
Sure.
it's a general. We can have a generalized sort of answer, but I mean, it's important what they said as well.
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's really around finding capacity to not only perhaps settle some of your debt, but also look at saying, well, where and how can I start investing and saving, whether it be in the short term to the long term. I know we're pretty much all out of time now, but I think just as a quick thing, one word of note from yourself, what is the first thing that somebody should be doing right now in facing this?
I think, as we've said already, pay off your debt as soon as possible, be disciplined, and get a trusted advisor, or even an adult person if you're a young person. But if you're close to retirement, make sure that you have a proper relationship with somebody who you can trust, and we will give you objective advice.
Great, fantastic. Wilhelm, Stephen and Raylan, thank you so much for your time and sharing of your knowledge tonight. Before we go, it's quick time for a look at our weekly viewers' tips. This week's tips, of course, relate to saving.
July is National Savings Month, and FinLogic is dedicated to helping you to save better. An investor without investment objectives is like a traveler without a destination. By having savings goals, you will be motivated to start saving, and more importantly, to continue to save. The key to good budgets is to know the difference between your needs and your wants. Ask yourself, can I live without it? Why do I want it? This will help you to establish a realistic budget and to stick to it. Put a plan into action. By putting a monetary value to your goal, you will be able to calculate how much you need to save each month to achieve it. Start by setting up a monthly investment, which is debited directly from your account at the beginning of each month. This will stop you from spending your savings. Every plan of action should be broken up into steps: short, medium, and long term. A short-term investment is anything from a few months to 3 years. This should also include an emergency fund where you have saved 3 to 6 months worth of income. Short-term investments into unit trusts or ETFs gives you immediate access to your cash. The next step is for your medium-term goals, 3 to 7 years. Due to the longer investment term, you can invest into a moderate risk fund, helping you to get better returns above inflation. By using the appropriate products, such as an endowment or child education plan, your proceeds are payable tax-free. Once an endowment has passed its initial 5-year term, keep it running as you will have immediate access to these funds, tax-free, and it becomes a fantastic planning tool for savings. The last step is your long-term goals. Nowadays, a long-term investment is one with a time horizon of more than 7 years. These investments create wealth, as you can invest in aggressive portfolios, offering you investment returns far outperforming inflation. Long-term savings is usually aimed at retirement, giving you tax breaks on your savings. In the old days, a person who saved their money was known as a miser. Nowadays, they are known as a wonder. Become a wonder by allowing FinLogic financial advisors to help you to make your dreams and your goals a reality.